All right, so we're going to go through okay, we got stops above here. Now for non-farm payroll, we don't really we don't trade this day, but it's good for studying to watch how the market seeks liquidity. And you're probably, if you're new, you're on there. Well, if you're going to watch it, you don't want to trade it because anything can happen on this day. And I tried to convey that during the free material for years. And I think I did myself and everyone else watching a disservice by showing me trading non-farm payroll a couple times. And now they assume that it can be done every non-farm payroll every month. And that's unfortunate because that's not what I was trying to do. I was just trying to prove that the price action material works, even in high volatile conditions. And let's get this over here to the daily. And you have stops up here. Okay, so let's go down into a 15-minute for this. Okay, so the pound, I believe, will be the one that expands on the upside because it has its void in here. If we lose the middle of this down candle right here, let me put a line on that. If we go below this level here, then we're going to look to close in this range down here. I suspect that it'll want to run up in here a little bit more. We've had pretty much a nice run this week, calling bullishness, reaching for this initial liquidity pool, and then looking for the order block here, and then obviously it went right on through that. So if we did that, we were looking for the 2690 level up there. I'm not saying we're going to get 2690 today, but I think this one has the potential to run higher. CAD, be careful with these buy stops up here. We've held consolidation in here for a while, so they may run up here. Now, if we do get expansion on CAD, we mentioned the 136s over here, long term. But this one's been playing a real sloppy mess around that 134. So it'll be interesting to see what we do once we get above that, if we do it at all. And the buy stops on euro dollar, I like them. We could get up to 111.45 on euro dollar if we can run. That would be up here. Okay, 2 more minutes. Well, 1 more minute, and the carnival ride begins. If we break lower on the dollar, we got 96.90, 96.85. Downside, upside, we have 97.50, 97.60. Okay, should be seeing our reactions now. Watch the buy stops at 34.35. I'm surprised they haven't drove through there yet, above the 134, 35s. There we are. 34, 35 buy stops taken. We're going to see if there's any range expansion on the daily chart now that we've created a new ground. This really is an ugly pair. Okay, so we've taken the stops below the lows here. I would have liked to see it come down a little bit more, come into the block right here at 1075, and then wipe out the buy stops above the marketplace. You're going to see many times that the non-farm payroll, generally the initial price swing, first couple of minutes is usually the opposite direction, and they end up changing direction and going the other way and reaching for the liquidity on the opposite side of the daily range. So we've already taken the lows out during London. We have equal highs up here, and then we have layered buy stops above here at 111.30s. And if we get any kind of expansion, 11.45s are in jeopardy. Dollar's taking its London high out, back to the middle of the range. Cable's still holding firm. And no follow through after 34, 35s on the buy stops. Generally, you would like to see when you break in new ground on a daily chart that it finds legs and wants to run aggressively. You want to see that type of price action, not just poke its head above the previous high and stall. You don't want to see that. The best moves that want to run, once they clear the ground that was old highs, they just rip and just keep on going. That's the type of moves you're going to see. There we go. It's actually pretty quiet for non-farm payroll. I personally believe we'll be up in here next week. It's going to want to close in all that range probably. And it could probably do it all in 1 week. So we might have a really big pound dollar trading week next week. That's assuming that we don't lose much of the ground that we gained here. Again, I was saying the other day, we don't want to see it come back down, ideally, to close in this. If it can keep that open and going into next week, that will allow us to really run higher into that 26.90 to 27 big figure. And that would be the weekly objective for next week. And I really like the fact that pound dollar is not trying to lose any ground here. And if we can maintain that, that just bodes well for what my expectations are for next week. So while we are not doing anything today, we're studying this to set up our expectations or trade ideas for next week. So I want to be long pound dollar to get up into this range over here. Okay. So far, it's only indicated it's ran above the previous high. So far, it looks like a stop sweep. We haven't seen really anything. Nice little pop through, but it's stalled so far. It should be running right now higher. And the only thing we've done is pierce the previous high. So that's what we've done. We broke through the previous high, and that's over here seen. And no follow through yet. So far, it's only been a small grade on sweeps on the stops. Euro can't get out of its way. It's stuck in its range. And the dollar as well. Now, I think they've taken already the buy stops above the highs made in London, and we're back at equilibrium. So be mindful that the sell stops below the lows over here will be the next area of liquidity to be run. If it can run through it again, the London high, it will seek the liquidity above these equal highs and could run all the way up to 97.60. I don't see it here, but that's what we would expect if we do that. Right now, it looks like the sell stops below the lows over here are going to be the ones tagged next. I know I realize this now that I'm uncharacteristically quiet right now. I usually am going off of the mouth and just running a face, but I'm really studying to see what side of the marketplace they work because it's the end of the week, and they usually set up a really good sentiment idea going into the weekend after non-farm payroll, and I want to see what kind of a sentiment they're building in. We have the U.S. elections next week also, so there's a lot of people standing on the sidelines waiting to see what's going to happen, waiting for the next shoe to drop, as they say. So far, CAD's been the only one that's ran its obvious buy stop. Pound dollar hasn't really done anything. Euro's still stuck in the mud. So for the remainder of the morning, until around 11 o'clock in the morning, 11:30 New York time, be mindful and study the euro on this level here, 1070 to 1075 downside, and running 111.20s to 111.30s on the buy stops. And dollar, just be mindful of the equal highs in here up to this bear shoulder block. That puts you in around 97.50. We get 97.60 if it runs through. Hits the area of liquidity void up into bear shoulder block in here. Now you can see there's multiple up candles, and what I did was I used all of them as a like an hour and a half. If we had a capacity to do an hour and a half or a 90-minute chart, that would be a bear shoulder block here. I think that they're going to probably punch down here and get these sell stops, unless it rolls through and starts gaining some momentum on the upside. The longer it stays in its consolidation, I think they're going to want to reach below these lows later in the day. And I think that's all we're going to be able to study for today. There's nothing else that's jumping off. And again, it's not in our payroll, so we don't trade that. I saw one of the guys on our community tweet that one of the gurus for Forex, Kathy, is going to be trading live the election next week. So I'm not sure what that's all about. I think it's like non-farm payroll on steroids, especially given the uncertainty. So I will be joining you all again by way of pre-recorded analysis before the start of next week, and I will be giving you your first 2 of 8 for the November teachings. And again, you can go on the forum and see what those 2 will be. They will be online Saturday, and I will post a link and let you know when they're online so you can download them. As a bit of business for your notes, just to keep this in mind, the summary notes they're not always going to be every single slide that I use for PowerPoint displays. Like when I'm doing the teachings, I'm using PowerPoint to present that. I don't share all of my slides. I just want to focus on giving you the most salient points, the things that you should be taking away. If I give you a whole list of slides, there's a lot of slides that don't have anything on them. So I'm giving you the ones that have the notations that make sense. Okay, so I know we had one of the gentlemen in our community ask where certain lesson slides were, but it's not a complete beginning from the first slide to the end slide. That's not what I'm doing when I give you the notes. I'm giving you the points at which you should have collected from each of those teachings. So, and I've added some things when I was speaking about it, but it didn't have any specific notation. I'll draw attention to certain things in those slides and then I'll present it. But don't think that you're going to have every single slide. And it's not because I'm hiding anything from you. You just don't need that. And don't ask for it because I'm not interested in giving it to you. And there's been people in the past to ask for them, but there's no reason for that. And I think that's going to be it for today. Pretty lackluster non-farm payroll. Can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. So I'm going to close the recording here, but I'll hang around for about 15 minutes in case you guys got some questions. I'm going to turn that recording off because I don't want this to be a long video.